The long-awaited first look at Nitesh Tiwari's Ramayana is finally here, introducing Ranbir Kapoor as Lord Rama and making one thing very clear right away. This film is not thinking small. The scale is massive, the imagery is built to overwhelm. The VFX ambition is obvious from the opening seconds. The music is trying to elevate every frame into myth, and for stretches, it absolutely works. There are moments in this glimpse where you can feel Indian cinema reaching for something genuinely monumental. But there is also another feeling running underneath it, not doubt exactly, more like hesitation. A sense that the film already knows how to impress us, but is still working to prove it knows how to move us. That is a much more interesting place for a project like this to be. Because Ramayana does not need grandeur alone. That part is easy, at least compared to what really matters. A story like this lives or dies on emotional conviction. It has to feel reverent without becoming stiff, cinematic without becoming hollow, and spiritually grounded without reducing itself to museum piece solemnity. The first glimpse understands the scale requirement immediately. The bigger question is whether it fully understands the quiet inner life of the epic at the same level. And I think that is where the footage becomes fascinating. The official glimpse, released on Hanuman Jayanti, clearly wants to function as more than a basic teaser. It is structured like a compressed map of Rama's emotional and narrative journey, moving through early sections of the epic and presenting key beats with enough force to trigger recognition, awe, and speculation. You can feel the filmmakers trying to say, this will not just be a look, this will be an event. And on a pure visual level, that confidence mostly lands. The imagery is polished, the battle flashes are commanding, and the world building is trying very hard to feel definitive. The film is slated for Diwali 2026, with part to set for Diwali 2027, so the ambition here is obly epic in both scale and structure. That ambition is easiest to admire in the design work. Ayodhya looks rich and meticulously imagined. Pushback Viman, even in a brief shot, feels like one of the strongest visual ideas in the teaser. The larger environments suggest a version of this mythology that wants to be immersive rather than symbolic, and that is the right instinct. Ramayana should feel vast. It should feel lived in. It should feel like a civilization with sacred gravity, not just a collection of expensive sets and digital skies. In its best images, the glimpse gets very close to that, but it does not always stay there. There are stretches where the CGI feels a little too aware of itself, a little too eager to announce scale before emotional texture has fully settled in. Some sections look so designed that they begin losing atmosphere. Instead of myth becoming tangible, it starts to feel like spectacle trying to become myth through volume alone. That is not a fatal problem for a teaser, especially this early. But it is noticeable, and then Ranbir Kapoor appears. That is where the energy changes. The teaser becomes calmer, stronger, more focused. Kapoor brings something the imagery around him is still trying to fully earn: stillness. There is a composure in his face and body language that starts cutting through the overbuilt surface of the footage. He does not have to do much, that is part of why it works. Lord Rama is not a role that should feel overperformed. He should feel centered. The best thing about Kapoor here is that he seems to understand that. He looks poised, measured, and composed in a way that immediately makes the film feel more emotionally legible. That does not mean every concern disappears. It does mean the casting suddenly makes deeper sense. Because the role requires more than star power, it requires grace under visual pressure. This teaser is full of skill, noise, and iconography, and Kapoor's presence is one of the few things that consistently quiets it into something more human. That is a very good sign. I would still like to hear him speak before making any absolute claims, because voice and diction will matter enormously in a role like this. But purely on presence, he gives the glimpse its strongest center. The music helps too. Hans Zimmer and A.R. Rahman is such an enormous collaboration on paper that it almost risks sounding like marketing mythology by itself. But even in fragment form, You can feel the score trying to do something important here. It is not just decorating the footage. It is attempting to give the scale emotional weight. That matters because a film like Ramayana cannot rely on visuals alone, no matter how good the visuals are. It needs sonic conviction. It needs spiritual force. It needs music that can make grandeur feel intimate rather than merely loud. This teaser suggests that side of the film may become one of its greatest strengths. The most revealing thing, though, is that the teaser seems to understand curiosity better than certainty. It is not a full statement, it is bait. Well-made bait, but bait. It wants repeat viewing. It wants frame-by-frame analysis. It wants people pausing on costume details, world design, Ravana's brief reveal, and the emotional implications of where part 1 will begin and end. That is smart. A project this large needs mystery as much as it needs confidence. The Ravana tease especially works because it withholds just enough. If Ranbir's presence gives the glimpse calm, that final darker energy gives it hunger. And that is where I think the teaser ultimately succeeds. Not by proving the movie is already complete in our minds, but by making it impossible to dismiss. Because even where it overreaches with intent. You can feel the years of development weight in the footage. You can feel the attempt to learn from the failures of more recent mythological adaptations. Ramayana wants to restore a sense of scale, seriousness, and beauty to material that audiences hold very close. That is a serious challenge. This first glimpse does not fully erase every concern, but it does something more valuable. It makes the possibility of greatness feel real. So where do I land on it? I think Ramayana's first glimpse is impressive, uneven, and undeniably intriguing. The visuals are often stunning, the ambition is obvious. The design work is mostly excellent. Ranbir Kapoor gives the teaser its emotional center. But the film still seems to be negotiating an important balance between mythic spectacle and spiritual simplicity, and that balance will decide everything. Because Ramayana cannot survive on grandeur alone, it has to feel true from the inside. And if Nitesh Tiwari can bring more of that inward truth into the final film, then this really could become one of the defining cinematic events Indian cinema has been waiting for. That is the promise. Now the film has to carry it.